Welcome to the first web development course. You can think of this course as a first step towards starting web development. When you're first starting with web development, it's easy to get lost because there are so many different frameworks, tools, languages, and there are so many different ways to build web apps. And also different types of web developers, front end, back end, full stack. It's easy to get all caught up and confused if you don't know how web apps actually work in the first place. But whatever web development stack you choose, or whether you want to focus on the front end or the back end, you need to learn the front end basics, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and more importantly, how they connect with each other, run in the browser, and how they present websites and web apps to the user. What you see here is an ordinary browser. We use it every day to connect to the internet. It works like magic. We type a URL or click a link, then we can start watching cat videos or JomaTech videos, if you're into that. Post comments, delete them, or read what other people wrote, etc. This is what everybody is doing every day, but not many people know what exactly happens behind the scenes. As we continue throughout this course, I will be demystifying things one by one, and things will start to make more sense. You'll be able to piece different concepts together and even make your own web app. When you click something on a website or type an address in the browser, you're basically telling the internet to bring something to you. You're making a request to it. The internet is a bunch of computers connected to each other in a network. And when we click a link saying, I want to see this web page, we are asking another computer to send the web page to my computer. The computer that we ask to send over the web page is a special kind of computer, which we call a server. A server is a device or program that waits for requests from your computer and sends back the requested data. Whether if it's a web page, a PDF file, or a video, if you ask for it, a server will give it to you. In this case, we are the clients, and we call this the client-server model. A client can be normal people like us using browsers like Chrome or Safari on their desktops or tablets or phones. Any device or application that makes requests to a server is a client. As long as the application is sending the request, then it is considered as a client, and the other program will respond to that request, which makes that program the server. So, if there are all kinds of different clients using different applications and devices requesting random stuff in all sorts of different ways to the server, it would be a bit confusing for the server. This is why we need a protocol. A protocol is like a rule of communication. The client and server agrees upon a certain way of communication, just like how I am speaking English to you, because you and I can both understand and speak English, and we both agreed to use it. If I suddenly start speaking Spanish, hola, we would start to have communication problems. See? Another good example of a protocol is the way we speak with walkie-talkies. With the two-way radio, we cannot speak at the same time, so we have an agreed rule like saying over to let the other person know that your message has finished, or saying out to let the other person know that the whole conversation has finished. These terms, along with many other terms, will let the other person know what to do or what the status is. The protocol we use for most websites is the HTTP protocol, which is why we see the HTTP in front of web addresses. This is also something we need to understand if we want to learn web development, because there are certain methods we can use to request data from a server. When we request to see a website on the browser as a client with the right protocol, it will send us some files which include HTML, CSS, and JavaScript files. If we can get hold of these files, we are able to render the website on our browser and then view it. The content on these files will actually travel through the network and will be downloaded to our devices, and the browser will present the website to us. Don't be confused with the browser's download button. Nowadays, we think of download as downloading a file and saving it onto our computer. But the true definition of downloading is getting any sorts of data from the internet. So the downloading most people know is a subset of what you download to view websites. As long as you're receiving data from outside servers, it means you're downloading that data. The HTML will hold structure and content of the web page, along with other related information about the web page. The CSS file will let the browser know how to style the web page, such as which colors or fonts to use, or how the web page should be arranged. And JavaScript files will let the browser know how the web page should behave and how it can be interacted with. Once the browser gets hold of these files, it can show us a decent-looking website. And making these files, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript files, is a job for the front-end developer, which is to handle the part of a web page and what the user interacts with. If you go to a restaurant to get some food, the front end is going to be the interior of the restaurant, how the waiters take your order, the menu, the music, etc. Your experience in the restaurant will depend on how comfortably you can interact with the waiters to get your food, and this will be decided by the front end side of the restaurant. After you request an order, the waiter will take your order to the kitchen, and then food will magically appear in front of you. Just like when you click a link to a cat video, it will magically appear in front of you. But actually, in the restaurant, once your order goes to the kitchen, it's not as pretty as the dining area. There will be chefs and cooks executing recipes, preparing the food, or getting the food from the storage units. This part would be the back end. Backend development focuses on getting data from the database and then working on the functionality and the logic that powers web applications. A backend developer can use any programming language as long as the program can serve requests. Some examples are JavaScript, Python, Java, or PHP. This course will be focusing on the basic front-end web development because, like I said before, whether you want to be a front-end developer or back-end developer, you would need to know the very basics of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and how they can present web pages or web apps. Let's start with HTML and CSS in the next video.